massive fish. What is this? Somebody's rod and reel. Can you believe that shit? Dobbins. Okay. Not what I had in mind for my first catch of the evening. Kidding me? So about 2 minutes into my trip, I ended up pulling that rod off the bottom of the lake, which is kind of odd because that's actually not the first time, even in the last couple of years, that this has happened to me. I was fishing with Mike on a lake up north for wipers, and it really wasn't going that good. I'd caught a couple of fish, he'd caught a couple of fish. It was getting towards dark, and he had just had enough. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and go home. So he went ahead and started packing up, and it's like, you know what, I'm just gonna stick around, fish till dark, put on a rattle trap and just cast and see if I can get one of these big wipers to go, you know, right there around dark. He's like, all right, sounds good. So he went ahead and took off, got packed up, drove off, and I'm out there fishing, you know, casting this rattle trap, and I throw this cast and I'm reeling it in, and all of a sudden it just starts to feel weird, you know, like there's some tension there, but not a whole lot, and it just felt really strange. So I'm just reeling it in. I'm like, I don't really know what's going on. I don't think I have a fish. So I reel this thing in, and I get my rattle trap up, and there's a tiny floating Rapala attached to my rattle trap. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Like I caught somebody's lure somehow. That's strange. So I grab it and I get it unhooked from my rattle trap, and I start pulling on it, and there's line attached to it. So I start pulling, and sure enough, an entire rod and reel comes up off the bottom of the lake, which is pretty crazy. You know, I'm fishing this 400-acre lake, and I just happen to make this cast, and my lure comes along, snags a floating Rapala, and I pull the whole thing up off the bottom of the lake. I mean, what are the odds that that would happen? That's not even the crazy part of this story. The crazy part of this story is that after I got it up off the bottom of the lake, I set it in my lap, and I took a picture of it with my cell phone, and I sent it to Mike, and the text was something to the effect of, catch of the day, I just pulled a whole rod and reel up off the bottom of the lake. So I sent that picture to him. Well, about 10 minutes later, he texts me back, and he's like, that's my rod and reel. So I'm like, what? No, that's not, there's no way that's possible. So I call him, and we're talking, and he's like, oh yeah, you know, it's this model reel, this model rod, and it's got this little, you know, floating Rapala on it that's got a little bit of rust on the back hook. I was like, okay, and I start looking at it, I'm like, sure enough, this has to be his rod and reel. I mean, he's described it perfectly. So somehow, not only did I catch a rod and reel off the bottom of that lake while casting, it also happened to belong to the guy who was just there fishing with me right before then. So pretty crazy story. I thought it was fitting to tell that story along with the footage from last week. So I pulled this, you know, this Dobbins rod and Daiwa reel off the bottom of the lake while I was trolling for walleyes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this story. It's just one of the crazier things that has happened to me, you know, over the course of the past couple of years. Hello everyone, welcome back to Indiana Kayak Fishing Journal. I'm back out here on Crooked Lake. I came up here after work to fish for a few hours, hoping to get in some walleyes. And I've been trolling just like I did in the last video, but unfortunately I made a terrible mistake, and I forgot to charge the battery for my depth finder. So I'm actually out here in the middle of the lake, and there's a lot of complex structure where the bottom comes up, and I mean, it's just going to be impossible for me to do what I was doing, which is really unfortunate because I finally had gotten into a pattern. I caught 3 fish pretty quickly here in the last hour, and I was hoping to capitalize on it, and right then my electronics died. So I'm going to try to do some casting, see how that goes. I'll probably get out of here before too long. It's pretty windy out here, so casting is going to be pretty difficult, but I'm going to give it a try anyways. I'm already all the way up here, so hope you guys enjoy the footage. Fish. Feels like a good fish, whatever it is, when these guys mouth. Definitely Oh god. I'll lose my walleye because of this freaking rod. Oh, shit. That's a fish. It's a good one, too. Shit. Little walleye. Never gonna make it. Yeah, no way. Cool though. This is walleye. Little tiny walleye. You're definitely not gonna make it there, killer. Pretty little fish. Little guy.